Hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. It's our first breakfast briefing of 2026, so a huge round of applause for setting the tone right for the rest of the year. So you've come to the perfect place to find out whether your plans and strategies for 2026 align with your peers. We're here to figure out what's non-negotiable this year and what each of us can do to solve real challenges within the industry. It's safe to say we've got plenty of great conversations with some fantastic speakers lined up. And before we begin, there's 3 experiences you'll want to be a part of today. So listen carefully. First up, Animotion Media Group, who's presenting the first keynote, is offering one lucky member in our audience a free Yango Yasmina speaker. All you have to do to stand a chance to win is you'll see like these lovely little figurines on your tables. If you scan the QR code at the bottom of these figurines and just enter a few details in, then you get entered into a lucky draw to win the Yasmina speaker. Next up, we're also going to be playing a game of bingo today. So you'll see you'll see cards on your desks, little bingo cards. So when Neil from Climate AI is doing his keynote, the second one for today, pay close attention because the words that he say, they're all down on those cards, and the first to cross off every single one of those words and yell out bingo, you win a PS5. And finally, we're really spicing things up for 2026. We're going to be introducing a very interactive Ask Me Anything session. So for this session, you can get a head start on getting your questions in. We have a great panelist of speakers, and the floor is yours, really. So if you have any burning questions to ask leaders in the industry, scan the QR code, send your questions in, and yeah, we'll hopefully have a very dynamic, lively, completely candid session. So to review 3 QR codes, one for Yasmina and Animotion Media Group, one for the Ask Me Anything sessions. You can also scan the QR codes on the tabletops that you see to get a free trial for the Climate AI's product. Now, before we begin, here's our incredible shout out to our lovely partners for today, Animotion Media Group, Angami, Climate AI, and NBC Media Solutions. And to kick things off, please join me in welcoming Nadim Qureshi, our publishing director from Campaign Middle East.
Welcome to Campaign Middle East, the region's leading title on marketing, advertising, media, and the creative industries. Backed by Motivate Media Group and in partnership with Haymarket UK, we've spent 16 years in the region setting the tone, breaking stories, and shaping conversations for the industry by the industry. From print to digital, podcast to social, we cover it all. More than 330 magazine issues, 1 million annual web visitors, 105,000 social followers, and counting. We bring the industry together: Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Qatar, Oman, and the Middle East. Our events and podcasts keep you connected to the latest and greatest the industry has to offer. Campaign breakfast briefings, Campaign Market Minds Roundtable, On the Record.
Hello and thank you for joining us on the latest episode of On the Record with Campaign Middle East.
Insightful panels, groundbreaking conversations, you stay ahead of the curve with Campaign. We keep you in the loop with newsletters sent directly to your inbox twice a week. We map the movers, the shakers, the game changers. We cover every corner of the industry. We wrap up the year awarding the best agencies of the region with the highly anticipated Campaign Agency of the Year Middle East Award. The industry is evolving, so are we. Stay connected, stay ahead, stay tuned to Campaign Middle East.
Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? It's good? Welcome everyone to Campaign's first event of 2026 on Ramadan advertising and the year ahead. I'm Nadeem Qureshi, the publisher at Campaign Middle East. It's a true pleasure for me to open our first campaign event of the year with our old friends and partners. The start of the new year is filled with possibility. It's a time to reflect on what we have achieved together and, more importantly, to look ahead at what we can accomplish in the months to come. May this year be full of health, peace, and prosperity for us all. As usual, before we get on with today's events, I would like to brief everyone on the latest developments at Campaign Middle East and our partners. We've started working with most of you on our campaign editorial and events plans for this year. Anup and myself have been in the midst of our annual road trips where we visit all our partners and align our plans for the year along with yours. For those who we still haven't met, it's high time we did. These annual discussions are more than just planning for the year. It signals our commitment to grow together, to partnership, and to deliver meaningful impact throughout the year. Over the past years, we have seen remarkable progress in the region driven by collaboration, creativity, and determination. The momentum brings us all here together, ready to build on our past successes and reach even new heights. Campaign will continue with our 12 monthly editions, and we'll also have our annual directories, our country reports, and talent recognition editions, and many important new themes we plan to cover this year, like generational marketing, the creator economy, nation branding, destination marketing, and this year the editorial team will be launching campaigns 40 over 40 for the first time in this region. In our events calendar, we'll have 4 breakfast briefing events in Dubai, 2 in Saudi, and we plan to do more industry roundtables, podcasts, and finally conclude the year with the Agency of the Year Awards. You can get a lot more of these details if you reach out to my team on our editorial plans for the year. Moving on to the Agency of the Year Global Awards, the entries are now open for these, and these awards have been the benchmark of worldwide excellence. We have closed the early bird entries last week, and now the standard entry deadline is 26th of February, and the award ceremony will be right before Cannes Lions on the 18th of June at the glamorous Jumeirah Carlton Tower in London. Like I've said earlier, this is an amazing opportunity to showcase your agency is the best of the best among agencies from the world. And here's a short video on the global winners last year.
We are based in Dubai, but we look after Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey. So this award actually honestly goes out to our people who are the reasons why we're here and why we're winning.
We're really lucky because I think we've only won global leaders because we have such an incredible network and we have such an incredible creative agency. So I'm really glad that we've been awarded in all these different categories because frankly I don't think we would have won the personal award without the group of people we work with and the incredible team.
Our clients, read campaign. They're part of our success, right? And I think it sets a benchmark for what drives us all forward. I think if we didn't have that benchmark, if we didn't have that thing to strive for, I think the standard of the industry would be much lower.
It's very special in terms of it's great recognition for the agency, but also for the individuals. Our agency is now nearly 200 people. And it's an incredible business in terms of what we've built over the last 10 years, but over the last 5 it's really flown.
A target for the agency. When you've got something like this and you really want to aspire to it, you go and do it and it just drives your entire year, and it's great to finally be up here and just to recognise the work, and that's all it's about really, isn't it?
It's really good to step out of your bubble a bit in London and look at what the great wealth of talent around the world and around the globe, and it's been a really good night to see that.
In a room full of international people.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Proud, recognition and special.
Amazing, accomplished, and a lot of hard work.
So that's the Campaign Agency of the Year Global Awards. On your tables, we'll have the campaign latest Feb editions on the digital agency and the adtech guides. And this month, we'll publish the media and the creative agency guide. So please send us your listings if you want to include them in the guide along with the adtech and agency map that comes out this month. Please reach out to Tarun for all the partnership opportunities. Now, on to Dubai links. The awards season is finally in full swing. Can I have the slide for Dubai links? The award season is officially in full swing, and many of you have just wrapped up your Dubai links submissions. The excitement doesn't stop there. The Dubai Links Awards ceremony takes place on Wednesday, 1st April 2026 at the Emirates Golf Club. Seats are now open for bookings on DubaiLinks.com, so make sure you secure yours before they're gone. This year, Dubai Links is proud to bring back See It to Be It Connects MENA, so part of the globally recognized See It to Be It program from Cannes Lions. Designed to accelerate gender balance in the creative industry, this one-day high-impact leadership experience is delivered in collaboration with MCN, and applications are now open till 16th March. Slide 3. For the rising talent aged 32 and under, the Young Links competitions powered by Memek Ogilvy are also live now. Form a team of two, take a fast-paced 2-day creative challenge, and open the chance to be honored on the stage at the Dubai Links Awards at the ceremony. All details and registrations are available on DubaiLinks.com. And of course, if you have any questions throughout the day, we have the Dubai Links team right here who will be happy to help you out. Coming back to campaign, I would like to conclude now. So thank you everyone who've been here. Please make sure you keep sending Anoop all the thought leadership opinion pieces that we have. And thank you everyone for being here, and thank you for all your support. Thanks a lot.
Check. Good morning, everybody. A very good morning to all of you, our extended Campaign Middle East family. On behalf of this extremely wonderful publication and an equally wonderful team, it's my honor and privilege to welcome all of you, friends of the craft, champions of brand, and people moving value beyond the performative, to this iteration of the Campaign Breakfast Briefing, Ramadan Advertising, and the year ahead. I'll be honest, the months of January and February have been very busy, if not more busy than Q4 2025. The industry has seen RFPs flying in left, right, and center, but the deadlines and response time seem to be growing ever tighter. Taking the record in January 2026, from what I heard, was an RFP with a response time of 1 week. Yep, that happened. Maybe worth a discussion at a later stage to see how many were brave enough to decline, and only to get approached a week later that the response time has been stretched to a year instead. Also, we'll get to the margins, we'll get to competition, we'll get to the pricing game, and a need for better transparency and reporting across media in just a bit. But before we get there, let's applaud those of us who have survived the first 44 days of 2026. I see some of you doing the math. It is indeed, yes, thank you, applaud yourselves. It has. I know some of you are doing the math. It has been 44 days. Today, Friday the 13th, makes it 44 days of getting Ramadan campaigns over the line, spending hours on back-to-back shoots, attending events, putting award submissions together, fixing content calendars, while senior leadership teams are often caught with their calendars double-booked, even triple-booked, with client meetings, global and regional leadership calls, and to think we're only halfway through Q1 2026. Yep. From all the conversations that Nadeem, Tarun, and I have had with the industry, what are the handful of things that people are praying for? And I've been told that I need to be honest on stage, so I'm going to be as honest as possibly I can. What people are praying for, to be honest, is just more time with family, at least one night of peaceful sleep in Q1, at least 2 client wins if possible in Q1 2026, and for all those flyovers in Dubai to finally be completed. I'm really happy that 1 of 3 flyovers near Rebin Ranches is completed, which makes me smile at least 5 times a week, because we do go into work 5 times a week. I've also been told that 2026 is the year that patience runs thin. And Ramadan campaigns done wrong will get trolled, so no pressure, yeah? Apart from driving purchase intent and becoming key opinion leaders in the workplace and at home, Gen Z and Gen Alpha children have also empowered us, the older boomers and millennials, to become a lot bolder about what we say and how we say it. Opinions are already flying around social media channels about what Ramadan campaigns are good and what are not good. But beyond the buzzwords, what's likely to work well? The leaders that we have spoken to have given a few tips. I won't mention any names. But the brands that win well, or the brands that will win, are those that start early, get their cross-channel and cross-platform content integration, targeting, messaging, and timing right. Brands that win are those who have invested in beautifully shot, curated, resonant campaigns. If you haven't seen the Sharid Studio campaign, for example, on the tableware brand WABA Waba, I'd highly recommend that. Brands that will win are those who evoke emotions, educate, and entertain children as much as they do adults. Side note, it's not a surprise that animated movies and mascots are coming back. Brands that win are not just those who tell a story, but are part of the story, co-created with communities observing Ramadan and those who are not. Brands that win are those who are bold, with the right sense of humor that resonate with regions and recalibrates perceptions around the globe. Brands that will win are those that know how to spark nostalgia among those of us who have white hair, and will spark memorable experiences with those of us who don't, so that they have something to be nostalgic about downstream. Brands that will win are those who know how to build augmented humanity with AI instead of attempting to use AI as a KPI. Brands that win are those that will get their Ramadan messaging correct and not stick to cliched moons or lantern images for 30 days. But how many of these lessons that we learn during Ramadan will set the pace for the year ahead? What does the year have in store for each of us? I'll spill a few secrets again without taking any names. In a day and age when there's far too much content, competition, and the cacophony of opinions and expertise, marketers and agency leaders who will differentiate themselves and be distinctive in this market are those that are humble enough to say that they don't have all the answers and probably never will. These are leaders who are genuinely burning the midnight oil. They are learning, studying, upskilling, educating themselves, and testing and trying out new products and tools, and having post-work dinners with friends and like-minded leaders to share their fascinating discoveries. What does this mean? You've got one set of leaders who are using ChatGPT and a 27-year-old who's probably also using ChatGPT to write their LinkedIn posts, while another set of leaders are diving deep into Claude, Nano Banana, Veo, Midjourney, and playing around with AI agents and agentic AI. There's one set of leaders talking about the benefits of AI and doing nothing else about it, while there are others augmenting creativity, reducing production times, dialing into predictive patterns and signals, breaking organizational silos, and building enterprise-grade governance. These are leaders with a performance edge, offering better returns on every single dollar that we're spending. Reading between the lines, this means hard work and human judgment will remain vital in 2026. Once again, what does 2026 have in store for all of us? It has a challenge. There is a challenge in store for all of us. Will we, as an industry, dare to reward outcomes instead of promises? Will we dare to incentivize consistency over claims? Will we dare to reward partners that complement each other and collaborate over those who only compete? Will we dare to reward education and empathy over mediocre execution and vanity metrics? Will we dare to reward transparency and trust over the shiny tools that no one knows how to use yet? Will we dare to reward proven performance, truly rewarding proven performance instead of paltry pricing, POCs, or these unending pilots? Will we dare to reward healthy, client-agency vendor relationships instead of an ecosystem where it's every man and woman for themselves? Will we dare to build mutual respect over time, or will we collectively give up on a hope of a better world? I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Time is the best litmus test of them all. May time look on all of us and judge us kindly. With the month around the corner, I wish you all Ramadan Kareem, and that's my time. Once again, welcome to our first campaign breakfast briefing of the year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anoop. That was really a lot that you've left us to think about. So moving on, let's get right into it. We've got our first keynote for the day. This one's going to be all about changing the traditional definition of advertising. Animotion Media Group is going to take us on a journey about rethinking brand presence in kids and family content. They're also giving away that AI-powered speaker that I mentioned earlier. So if you haven't yet, do scan the QR codes on the bottom of those figurines and enter in your details. Before I call our speaker on stage, here's a short video from our partner, Animotion Media Group.
Hi there, kids.
Hi, Beardy. Hello there. Just tell me, who are you?
Fixies. Now we're real sailors. Ta-da! I'm the captain.
Child, it is the best time of your life, and you have to use it wisely.
BFF. Best fit forever.
Onward to adventure.
Let's go. Tina's in.
Tony too.
Full sail. We're the best. Fish.
The time is now. That's what I call deductive technique.
What a silly trick. Oh, yeah! Tease!
Did you guys see that?
Lovely. Now, please join me in giving a warm welcome to our presenter, Julia Nikoleva, General Manager at Animotion Media Group.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Julia Nikolaeva from Animotion Media Group, and for Ramadan and the year ahead, I want to focus on what works best for families: emotion, trust, and brand-safe storytelling. Animotion is a UAE-based production and distribution company. In Middle East, we operate through Animotion MENA. It's a joint venture with a local Emirati investment company based in Abu Dhabi. So we build family franchises and do everything in-house: production, distribution, licensing, and partnerships. For our partners and brands, that means speed, control, and accountability. When everything is under one roof, we can move fast, adapt creative quickly, and keep the message consistent and brand safe. With our IPs, we cover kids of all ages, from toddlers to teens. And because it's family viewing, parents join in too. The challenge for brands is that a family is never one audience. In one home, you have different ages and different filters. Our universe is built for that reality: animation, hybrid, live action, but always family safe. And it's not just entertainment. Much of our content is educational in a light, natural way, so parents already trust it and approve it. Starting from Baby Ricky, an IP designed for toddlers and developed with the participation of child psychologists, introducing early learning concepts such as shapes, colors, and first social interactions. Tina and Tony, that focuses on emotional intelligence and empathy. Moving to school age, we offer brands such as The Fixies. It's series and feature films about tiny creatures who live in your gadgets They know everything about technologies and techniques, and they explain how everything works in a fun and accessible way. And Pin Code, a science-driven project exploring technology and innovation. Together, these IPs create a continuous educational and emotional journey. MENA is one of the most family-driven markets in the world. Around a quarter of the population is children, about 140 million kids. And parents of these kids are more than half of the population. What does this mean for brands? Two things. Kids strongly influence consumption habits. What families buy, where they go, what they watch. Parents are deeply involved. They don't just pay, they also decide what's appropriate and what's trusted. And Ramadan amplifies this. Families spend more time together, more shared viewing, more shared outings, and more family moments where brands either feel authentic or feel pushy. So when you reach kids through trusted family content, you're not only reaching kids. Parents join the viewing. Which brings us to the big marketing issue today. Direct advertising is losing effectiveness. People skip, people ignore, people block. We don't even remember what we saw just 5 minutes ago. So the question isn't how do we place more ads? The question is how do we build emotional connection? Because when people feel something, they don't skip. They engage, they share, they remember, and they buy. That's why partnerships matter. When a brand enters a story that already has love and trust, it feels natural, not like interruption. And we've seen it in real numbers. Integrations drive results. A partnership between the Fixes and Dodo Pizza led to a 50% increase in sales. A Fixes Happy Meal campaign with McDonald's sold out in less than a month. Our live shows consistently achieve around 75% capacity. Because all these activations triggers that simple effect. I want it. When we say influencers, we think about bloggers, celebrities, but animated characters are influencers too. And in some ways, they are even stronger. The emotional connection built in childhood is the deepest one. Characters grow with you, they stay in your memory for years. A powerful example is our brand Kikoriki in CIS and Russia market. With more than 20 years of history there and a core audience of children aged 4 to 8, an entire generation has grown up with this universe. And even today, adults who watched Kikoriki as children remain deeply loyal to the brand. They quote it, share it, introduce it to their own children, and for this grown-up audience, there are dedicated products as well. This cultural impact confirmed by research from Ipsos Comcon in Russia. Kikoriki characters rank as the most popular animated heroes among males aged 16 to 19 and are in the top 2 animation-branded products purchased by women aged 20 to 24. So for brands, it's a long-term loyalty investment. Today's kids become independent consumers very soon, but the emotional bond can stay for decades. And just like influencers, these characters come with their own media power. YouTube channels, social media, streaming, live shows. That means brands get direct access to a big, loyal fan base. And typically, engagement and conversion are stronger than classic push advertising because the audience is already emotionally invested. Now, a quick look at our flagship IP, the Fixes, that figurines that are on tables, and you've probably seen our mascots during breakfast. So in Middle East, we already have a real fan base. For example, our YouTube channel in Arabic has reached more than 35 million views just in 1 year. We have a wide distribution through all main kids TV channels and platforms. And it's not only digital. The brand has strong local presence. We won the Broadcast Pro-Me Awards for Best Kids Initiative of the Year. We launched Arabic music, games, and we've done real-life experience. We also work with local partners and influencers, and we've brought Fixes show to venues like Toda set of digital art and collaborations with Sparks, Leo, and Luna. So it's not one placement for brands. It's a full ecosystem where your message can live across multiple formats and touch points. Brands today are extremely careful about context. With animated IP, you have a brand-safe environment. It's controlled storytelling, family-friendly setting, and none of the reputational risks you sometimes get with human influencers. Second, production efficiency. You don't need costly live shoots every time. We can create multiply formats fast, short videos, social assets, localized versions, even hybrid content. That gives brands flexibility, especially when it comes to very tight timelines like before Ramadan. We work 360 degrees way, so it's on-screen integrations in series and films, it's custom branded videos, social and digital assets, and offline activations. Educational content is especially powerful for certain categories because it's organic. For example, for the integration of soap brand, we chose the topic of hygiene and created an episode around why washing hands matters. And then supported with promo content, short videos, unboxings, POS materials, so the brand message becomes helpful, not pushy. Another big opportunity is merchandise and mascots. Brands often ask, how do we create a mascot that people actually love, not just tolerate? That's our expertise, character development and ambassador programs. Branded products, co-branded items, AR mechanics, live mascots appearance, meet and greets, and family events. Offline is where the relationship becomes even warmer because families experience the brand together. So let me quickly guide you through a couple of our cases. H&M had a really clear 360 degrees task to build brand awareness around sustainability topic, like recycling and cotton production, and support sales of a kids collection with the fixes, of course. So we create a special educational episode around this topic, plus a campaign ecosystem with fixes characters, and then connected it to the product. The result is that brand message feels aligned with family values and that parents actually support. Another case with Yandex Go that operates here in the region under the name Yango. So Yango's challenge was awareness and trust, explaining a child-safe taxi option and building knowledge around kids' road safety. So we didn't just place a logo, we built a safety-focused story world, special episode, audio podcast, AR game, taxi branding, and influencer activations. So key takeaway here, that for brands in services, trust is everything. So what's next and how brands can plug in? We have new big releases coming, new season of the fixes and the new movie, which creates fresh attention peaks. For brands, this is important because launches give you momentum. You can plan a Ramadan presence and also build continuity beyond Ramadan, instead of doing a one-off campaign that disappears. We also developing local live action formats like Fix a Lab together with Abu Dhabi Media. It's a kids' science edutainment show with local talents planned around back-to-school period. This is a great place for brands that want to be associated with learning, curiosity, innovation, family experiences, and to integrate easily in a native way. So I hope it was useful and you enjoyed the beginning of your day. And I think our joint creative ideas has the sky is the limit, so let's collaborate. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Julia, for that lovely, lovely presentation. I felt like I was an animated character for a second there. So moving on to the next session, we've got a brilliant panel. This one's going to be talking about brand versus performance, a little bit of a debate, finding the balance in Ramadan campaigns. Before we go into this session and I introduce everyone, here's a short video from our partner, MMS.
في رمضان
عساه مبارك.
كن جزءا من حكايتنا سندهشك لنوصل رسالتك لجمهورنا. MBC ومنصة MBC شاهد.
قصتي كبيرة ومن زمان.
في رمضان الصدارة لنا. MBC جروب.
رقم واحد.
قصصنا لا تنتهي.
عشان بس ما تقوليش ان انا حرمك من حاجة.
تواصل معنا على hello@mms.net.
So without any further ado, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Anne Tulloch, the Divisional Marketing Director of Wellness at Al Shaya Group, May Shablak, the Head of Corporate Marketing at Emirates NBD, Matthew Yarak, the Head of Data at NBC Media Solutions, Hugh Ringard, the Head of Performance Media at Havas Media Middle East, and our moderator for the panel, Anoop Uman, the Editor of Campaign.
Okay, let's do this. Good morning, everybody. It is great to be here. Can you all hear us clearly at the back? Wonderful. Excellent. First off, like I said, it's been a really busy January and February. I must thank our wonderful panelists here for taking the time out. Anne was mentioning earlier today how a couple of people do sessions offline on webinars, which is so much easier because you don't have to take time out. Between meetings, you can get things done. But it's good to have them here. So a round of applause for them for taking the time to share their knowledge and experience on stage with all of us, please. So I've been asked to set the scene a little bit before we get into this wonderful panel. The brand versus performance debate, especially during Ramadan, is not a new one, but it has gotten a little more nuanced. In conversations that we've had, I mean, the Marketing Society had Mark Ritson down the day before yesterday, Publicis had an event at the Louvre yesterday, and it's just been back to back. And a lot of these conversations have come back to the fore, but they've revolved around the education piece. They've revolved around the culture piece a little bit. There's been conversations around how we can balance, find that balance between time, cost, quality, efficiency, culture, and especially in a world where technology seems to be moving at a faster pace than the speed of adoption, right? In such a world, there is this conversation around short-term mentality versus long-term mentality. And I mean, to be honest, for all of us who've lived through this extremely busy first half of the first quarter, we know that we tend to get caught up in our dashboards, on our devices, online and offline, in our event meetings, leadership meetings, so on and so forth. And the focus tends to be on Q1. The focus tends to be on H1. And then at times we need to zoom out a little bit and say, where are we going as a brand? Where are we going in the long term, right? And we need to kind of sometimes fix that North Star every now and again. So I'll start the conversation today on that North Star, right? I'll start with you, Anne, and then we'll go around with everybody else as well. Do we need to, or how can we prioritize the right, meaningful success metrics and incentivize the right outcomes so that we settle this brand versus performance debate, especially during a time like Ramadan?
Sure, that's a big question. Can everyone hear me okay? Great stuff. So absolute pleasure to be here today with everyone. So lovely to see so many familiar faces as well, and also those I haven't yet met. So look forward to catching up later. So big question, quite loaded. I think, to be quite honest, everything goes hand in hand. You cannot have brand awareness without consideration and therefore conversion. So brand awareness, let's strip it right back, is all around gaining that mental availability with your customer, with your consumer. It's all around that kind of pulling those heartstrings. It's all about getting that emotion. And honestly, the why. Why should they be caring about the brand in the first place? Leaning then into obviously consideration and product, a little bit more rational, a little bit more about the mindset. Okay, I love this brand, but actually have they got the product? Have they got the categories that are right for me? And then the closer, the moving the hand or moving those feet into store for us at Al Shaya is all around, okay, what's the value that can be added to me? Is it loyalty points? Is it a great price point? Is it the urgency that it's a limited edition? So I think between that whole funnel in the traditional sense, there are a lot of different measurement metrics that determine. However, I am kept very grounded by my two current teenage daughters who tell me that this funnel, Mummy, this is not how you consume anymore. And they're right. So when I say almost kind of awareness for me and then performance conversion, it's almost one of the same. So certainly how we look at it with our Shire, we have some fabulous brands. I look after the wellness division, so we have Bath & Body Works, Aloe Yoga, Charlotte Tilbury, and the newly launched Ulta Beauty. If you haven't been to Ulta yet, we've just launched an MOE, so I expect to see everybody down there. Great even for the guys. But so how we're looking at that is really expecting, dare I say, an ROI on all the funnel and how they all interlink. So through our MMM modelling or FFM modelling, we actually see consideration, which kind of is mid-funnel, really driving that rational message, having the most volume in terms of conversion, but equally as well the best ROI. And when I say also consideration, it's not the traditional brand pushing out creative. It's also leaning into what our customers are telling us, our UGC content, our influencers, our content creators. That voice very much speaks on behalf of the brand in a more authentic way, and hence the measurement we see from that actually is greater than perhaps actually brand created content.
Matthew, you seem to be nodding a lot. You agree with most of what she says, but where do you stand?
Yeah, definitely. When we look at it from a brand perspective, I totally agree. But even if I take a bit of step back, I come from the publisher side, right? And when you work with agencies and advertisers on that front, and I think when we talk about, branding competing versus performance, and I think it goes back to, are we measuring the right KPIs to say, are we really competing or not, right? If I'm gonna keep it, to the first typical layer of, is it gonna be an impression? It's gonna be, a cheap CPM, it's gonna be a CTR. So by default, performance wins, and because that's the whole play of performance. But when we look at it, and and if you take a step back and look at how we can add human data into it, then the whole conversation will change. Okay, if I'm gonna look, for example, us on platform who's drive like the highest attention, because when you talk about attention, that's the first connection that you make with your brand. That's the first step towards pushing your brand to start thinking, what should I put the brand on the consideration set? And then at the same time, when we look at the mental availability, which goes back to the awareness on the upper funnel and so on. So that's when you give a fair value for all the touch points that plays within the whole ecosystem. And that's why you give a fair value when you talk about branding versus performance. Because again, when we take all of this into together and layering it with the media KPIs that we deal with on a daily basis, and I think they complement each other's more than they compete with each other's. Because today, for example, if I drive, for example, I'm talking about Ramadan, going back to Ramadan, because as you know, Ramadan is a very unique month during the year, where emotions speak at its best, where we have the cultural relevance when you talk to, for example, when it comes to a brand communicating to their customers or to the viewers and so on. So the moment you talk about emotion, the moment you talk about cultural relevancy, that's when you talk about, okay, am I gonna ask the question, is it about the click? Right. Or is it about moving the needle when it comes to consideration? Yeah. Or is it moving the needle, for example, about putting the brand on the consideration set? So when you talk about all of these, and I think you start talking more about business outcome more than typical platform outcome. And when you talk about business outcome, that's the value of it. And then
we've heard both sides, your side as well.
First of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Anoop. Thank you, Nadine, for inviting me once again for another breakfast meeting. Let me give you my context when it comes to brand versus performance. I think this, for me, it's a false debate. Yeah. And let me explain to you why. Brand will create demand, okay? Performance will create, performance will create demand, but then brand will also create it and set that demand. So let me explain to you what do I mean by that. So when searches are happening online, these are people who are interested currently in Emirates MBD. And they will be converting right now. But I need to keep that, I need to actually create the brand, develop the brand and create more brand awareness for me to keep that funnel happening. And Ramadan is the best time for us to do this. How? So let's take an example of auto loan. We have great auto loan offers during Ramadan. People are highly connected. If I'm just advertising and promoting a 1.89% offer, that's that will definitely get me leads. But then and these people are currently interested, but I need to keep that funnel coming in. So I need to build a brand. I need to act, and people are in Ramadan, as Mark had said, they're highly emotionally connected. It's all about financial well-being, financial education, literacy, trust. So I need to actually push content more to develop the brand for the leads to continue to come in, because when it comes to financial products, people don't convert easily. It takes on average 30 to 60 days for consumers to convert. So that is why I feel if I'm only optimizing on a last click conversion, that's good. If I'm only looking at it from a return on ad spend, that's good. But then I need to also look at it on the volume of the incremental brand search, the volume of the brand searches happening on the brand. They might not materialize now, but they might materialize later on. So if I'm measuring it at that, and I'm seeing that the search on Emirates MBD is increasing during Ramadan, then later on, 30 days or a few days later, they would go and say Emirates MBD credit card, not the best UAE, searching for the best UAE credit card. And this is actually going to give me and continue bringing in these leads in the funnel. So that's why I feel, yes, they have to go side and side and hand in hand. I cannot give, and only, usually the last click conversions get, the most of the impact, but then no, I have to also look at it from a top brand funnel.
I like this. And I'll come to you. I haven't forgotten you, I promise. Segueing based on where Mai just left off, there is this, in an extremely polarized world, there are people who've taken a strong stand on brand, there are people who have taken a strong stand on performance based on their roles, based on what they're asked for, blah, blah. But also, this saying that goes out that the truth very rarely lies at the extremes. It sometimes doesn't even lie in the middle. Sometimes it's holding both the extremes together, right? Which leads me to the question to you would be, how do we get that brand storytelling play that we've heard about within the performance metric? And not just responding to the first question, but also moving on to the question of what KPIs, like we said, should we then set, and how do we go and take the right attribution approach to ensure that you're going towards that North Star that we discussed?
So on the attribution front, it will all come to what you're selling first. You're not going to approach an FMCG brand the same way that you're approaching a 15 million villa on the Palm. Everything's going to change. The most important is that you don't change it because it's Ramadan. You need to adapt it. There's so many models today. It needs to be adapted to you. We have all the opportunities today to define a model for each brand and each product even, and we're still going with standardized approach. And media has evolved so much with, we said we're changing the creative per users, we're doing all those DCO approach, but we're not changing the way we measure. It's still the same way. So we brought new model like DDA models, but 95% of us are still using the default model. Right. While we can actually start defining success the right way as it is for us. We're the ones defining our success. So we need to see how we're investing and how that looks at the bottom of the funnel. And that's for everyone to define even before you start planning, because otherwise you're going to end up with a wrong balance between brand and performance.
And how does that work for you? Like, what KPIs do you track on that front, and what's your attribution approach that you seen work for you specifically within retail?
It's a great question. Are we on?
We are, yes.
Swift, smooth. So in terms of the KPIs, I was actually just thinking more back to kind of your question and through the funnel and kind of the creative and so forth. So for us, it all starts with the customer, but also the brand purpose. So really it's taking our customer data, knowing who our audience is, but equally what is the brand purpose? And off the back of that, we come then with what we call our communications platform. I'll give you an example. If it's take Bath & Body Works currently, they're all around the power of fragrance. You go into a Bath & Body Works store, we pretty much have 4 main SKUs. We have candles, I know there's a lot of fans of candles. There is the fine fragrance mists, so the sprays. There's also the body lotions and so forth. So we really want to be known for that fragrance, okay? So I'm coming to your point, bear with me. So with that comms platform then, it's really utilising how do we get that best out to the customer, whether it's through awareness, consideration or conversion, but it doesn't have to be done through media, okay? Power of fragrance, how much can you really smell through your phone? How much can you really smell through your TV screen or your computer, your laptop? So really some of these campaigns are very much driven by, say, an event or an activation or something that really connects, or sampling, something that connects our customer to the product and to that comms platform. You then drill down to, okay, then how are we going to drive sales? So then that's maybe where the more digital media comes in, and the creative then naturally flows, not matching luggage, but suited to the platform and suited to the audience and the time that they're viewing it. So the KPIs then, if I was just to take Ramadan with Bath and Body Works, in some elements, actually, it might be more footfall, it might be more interactivity, it might be more, we've got Princess Nuf University in Riyadh currently going on, and actually it's around engagement and time spent with the brand and sampling the products. That's our KPIs from more of an awareness, brand build, emotional connection. But then equally we have the harder KPIs that naturally then drive to traffic, to website volumes, to organic growth kind of on our platforms. And then that does go down to obviously buying of the product online. But actually just leaning into a point that was said earlier, we see through our FFM, there's actually a vast time difference in when we see these customers come to us. So even, you'd think, selling candles and hand soaps could be quite immediate. Actually, we see a lag of upwards of 12 weeks. So from a really heavy hitting awareness campaign, we then actually see the ROIs come in a lot more effectively 12 weeks later. And then that coupled with our customer research, our qual research, it is actually a factor from those campaigns. So this short versus long term, I think there's a real happy balance because you could write off some channels incredibly quickly where you actually haven't yet capitalized on the benefit of those channels.
Matthew, your thoughts?
Yeah, and I mean, again, when it comes from, a storytelling perspective and how our ecosystem can fit within the whole, performance journey, and how we can leverage the value of storytelling in a premium environment, and how, at the end, the question is how I can drive efficiency when it comes also to the performance platform at the same time, because an exposure, a quality exposure will help you at the end when you want to push it down the stream to be more efficient in the way that you drive performance. And on that front, because again, when we talk about MBC Group, when we talk about Ramadan, when we talk about the quality, the viewing quality, the whole storytelling element, and so on. What we wanted to show, what we wanted to prove is like, how do we fit within that whole, attribution at the same time, and how we do support, and how we do impact attribution for different channels. And on that front, we've funded different sets of marketing mix modeling.
Right.
Okay, so it's, it's the most important base where you understand the value of every single touch point within the whole mix when it comes to either driving equity or driving sales at the same time. So even when we talk about our ecosystem and driving, the highest contribution, to equity, but at the same time, when you look at it from a synergy perspective, it is also helping, for example, a social platform to drive a better outcome when it comes to sale. So then it shows you like how we play a key role, across the whole funnel in either supporting, to increase the value, but at the same time supporting other channels to actually pretty perform in an efficient way in terms of driving sales or equity.
My perspective from a banking sector. Because there is this conversation.
Yes,
Let's
definitely.
move beyond LCA.
And I will try to
finally.
give you a real life example. So storytelling definitely really complements performance and really helps it. And let me give you a real example of what we did. And it's actually a challenge that we continue to build on. Last year, during Ramadan, we wanted to connect with the Emirati audience. And our share of voice and a share among the Emiratis is not the best. So what we did is, we do have definitely all these product offerings that have across auto loans, personal loans, and account openings that bring, somehow, unique selling points. But in the end, we are actually bringing what all the other competition is doing. So what did we do? We looked at it, and again, going back to the say first on how brand complements performance. We considered, Emiratis during Ramadan, they connect strongly with, nostalgic shows. So we had a show called Farij. Farij in Arabic, it means a neighborhood. This is an animated episode that runs only during Ramadan. So what we did is we collaborated with Farij. Just for the people who don't know, it's mainly, there are 4 elderly women. Each elderly woman has its own personality. One is a tech savvy, the other is more laid back. And they are living in a secluded neighborhood in UAE. And UAE obviously is in the modern buzz world. So they're actually discussing community and cultural issues. So we went and we said we want to collaborate with Farij. So what did we do? We integrated the brand within these Farij episodes. These animated episodes were all shot in UAE on Sheikh Zayed Road. So you would see a branch of Emirates MBD in the background when these characters are actually, acting. You would see one of these elderly women, Khamis or Khammas or Saeed, they're actually heading towards an ATM and they're withdrawing cash. But it didn't end there. We also actually embedded storytelling. Allawi, one of these actors, she was driving her, old car. She wanted to actually head to the branch, and she was, not actually very much aware of what Qurud loans are and what does exclusive offers. And Khamis or Saeed were helping her. So it was all in a very humorous way, and we were selling our products. So every episode was not only having a product integration, but it also had as well offers around our products. But it didn't even but it didn't end there. We also want to attract Emiratis. We have programs like Rawad and Bidaya. Bidaya, which is a graduate program only attracting graduates. Rawad is a bit more for managerial Emiratis. So we actually had one of the episodes, Khammas looking for a job, and she was not qualified, walking into the branch, applying. It was in the context and the personality of the show itself.
So this goes far beyond product placement, and in a show it goes into integrating it into a storyline, which means you start extremely early working on it along with it.
So we saw the volume of searches rise. We saw the volume of people searching for jobs from the Emirati increase. Yes, obviously the last click and the conversions matter, but then this uplift in searches, our share of voice among this market, and people now were asking, when is the next episode of Emirates MBD? The last episode was now all these elderly women got recruited at Emirates MBD and they're working at Emirates MBD.
I like that. Hugh, I'll go to you because this brings up an interesting point, because we've gone beyond just the insights that we used to know, the way we used to work. We're getting a lot of this cultural intelligence come up on our dashboards. We've got a lot of financial data coming up on our dashboards, right? The question is, and I don't want to speak hypotheticals. I love the fact that we're giving actual real life examples, right, that people can associate with. Have you come across these data-led insights, such as this, that have actually changed or altered your creative media, your creative strategy, your media strategy? Can you share something that you've gone through?
Definitely, I think...
I'm sorry to throw you under the bus, but just like,
no,
we like more of this.
The first one that is the most impactful for Ramadan is, as what you said earlier, don't just throw a moon and a lantern on a creative and saying that's a Ramadan creative and you're done for 30 days. There's much more that goes behind it. We're not just pushing a cultural moment. This is a sharing moment. This is a regional festivity, and we need to go further than that. So I think the biggest change that we are seeing during Ramadan is timings. It's not only because, we get off work a bit earlier, but also people behave differently in the way they consume media. Brand and performance are going to go together as an ecosystem, because people want really, as you said, people are going to buy because they feel emotional about a video that's coming out, and it doesn't need to have a call to action that says buy now today and just sign up right now. So we need to really understand what people are going through. The first week of Ramadan won't have the same behavior as the last week of Ramadan. And we had a few clients where we really noticed that the behavior and the timing changes, but it has to change every year, because the timing of Ramadan changes every year. So we can't have a fixed strategy per year. We really need to start approaching it with different timings. People are going to start consuming content, but searching for more performance approach, maybe early afternoon, but later it's more laid-back approach that they're more likely to watch a longer video, a 60 seconds or even 2 minutes video, Then comes iftar, where we may go with snackable content. People are going to go for short one. But the best moment to target is actually after suhoor. So a lot of people want to focus on the iftar to suhoor moment. Well, actually, for a lot of the brand, the best moment is after suhoor, before the following prayer, and this is where we're going to get that key moment. But that, again, that changes every year, and we can't assume Ramadan. We have to learn it again every year, and that's what makes it extremely interesting. And no historical data will help us in the future.
I love that, because you're iterating as you go along, and I want to bring you into this discussion as well, because it's interesting, because like you said, we've gone past the discounts and the promo codes during Ramadan. We've made that part of an emotional aspect, our emotional conversation with consumers, but you also sit in a very interesting space where you're not only dealing with people, those are observing the holy month. You also have a large part of the audience that are not observing the holy month during this period, and they're both emotionally connected to the brands that you have, right? So have you seen, based on the data that you've got, and you're iterating as you go along, that change within your creative media strategies in 2026?
Yeah, for sure. I think, it's incredibly important to be locally relevant, and locally relevant means different things to different people. So we really try, actually using a lot of, dare I say, it's going to be the buzzword, but generative AI, to be as personalized as we can, but without using the ethos and the brand DNA, okay? Because quite a lot of people love, we're so fortunate, we've got some amazing, amazing brands, and people love those brands, but they want to see it through their own eyes and how it adds value to their own ethos and their own being. So yeah, very much so, whether it be kind of the big tentpole moments, the Ramadans, the national days and so forth, naturally we will lean into that, but equally as well, being very, very mindful. We operate in a variety of different markets, a variety of different cities. So even if I was to take Dubai, which is, broadly very cosmopolitan, it has a lot of people from different ethnic backgrounds, different nationalities, observing or not observing. You're absolutely right. We have to cater to everyone. And how we do that is through, firstly, our customer data. We're blessed to have 10 million customers on our Aura loyalty scheme. We know an awful lot about these guys.
More than they know about themselves sometimes.
Most likely, and yeah, absolutely. And okay, you've brought this, but you might also like that or that brand. So, certainly from a one-to-one communications, we can be very, very targeted. That could be push, that could be CRM, all those kind of traditionalist channels. But then from a more macro environment, how we do gain that inclusivity is to make sure, yes, we do a nod culturally to these moments. Or say if I was to take an aloe yoga, we would make sure the front of the store isn't in, the little tops and the really tight leggings. We might bring out more the joggers and the kind of the sweat tops. But equally as well, not losing what customers have told us they've loved throughout the rest of the year as well. So it's kind of a bit of a balance. And equally, we can mirror that in our omni-channel estate. So we've got over 100 apps, 100 websites. So really make sure what that customer sees is relevant to them.
You mentioned this word that I can't get away from, so I have to bring it back into conversation, Gen AI, but not Gen AI in its sense that we speak about creatives and there's a little too much conversation on that. I'm going to pivot to the AI and automation part of it, right? We've seen our tools that are helping us with efficiencies, and I'll come to you, Maya and Matthew, on this as well. We've seen these efficiencies grow. We've seen optimization. We know the benefits. We've heard about it. We've read probably 120 thought leadership articles on it at this point. But if I could ask both of you to share from experience where you've seen that plug and play, where you've seen the benefits of it within your own bits, and what you would suggest that we do in terms of improving our workflow efficiencies, including your real-time optimization of campaigns, real-time optimization of your workflows, and having agentic AI employees, if I may, within your organization. How far have you taken it? What benefits have you seen in your own case studies?
Okay. Look, and I think when you talk about, I have to tick the box when it comes to AI, right? But for us, it's not about optimizing or automating, optimization when it comes to campaign. It goes even beyond that to more on the efficiency side and how we can drive value for our partners, being agencies or advertisers. So from our perspective, and again, we're building the whole foundation we've talked about a bit before. So we have invested heavily last year in collecting human data, and goes back to attention on second-by-second basis. And when we talk about attention data, it means you literally focus on looking at the screen. Okay, being on our TV channels or on Shahid, NBC Shahid. But we also invested heavily in collecting brand data, and we invested heavily in collecting data. So when we bring all of these together, it becomes for us to create more of a mechanism that will support, advertisers and agencies to optimize from day zero, and ensuring that ad that drives a high quality in terms of outcome is placed in the right time, right moment, right audience, that can amplify the whole value of it. So for us, it's more bringing all these data sets all together. Yeah, and you start planning not only on a media metric, but you start planning and predicting outcome in real time.
For you, Mai, you said...
Conscious of time, I'll make it very short.
Yeah.
Again, most of us speak about AI when it comes to efficiency, but we can also give the credit to AI because it gives scale.
Right.
And going back to the example of Farij, so after we've captured all these audiences who are interested in auto loans, audiences who are interested in actually applying for Bidaya or Ruwad or PLs, we allowed AI to create for us multiple creative ad sets. These ad sets were actually targeted to these audiences that have been captured. So this way, we've capitalized on AI, bringing us efficiency. Usually developing these AI, multiple creative sets takes a lot of time, but we're leveraging on AI. It helped us bring a lot of scale and efficiency.
Wonderful. We're almost out of time, but before we conclude, really quickly, in a sentence or two, if you had one message to share about let's get this right in 2026, what would it be? Hugh, we'll start with you and come around.
I think on our topic, which is brand versus performance, what we need to get right is the mix between the creative and the performance. We can work on performance as much as we can. If we don't have the right creative or the right emotion and the right message for our audience, it's not going to work.
Strong.
I think for us, we're happy to test. We still have a lot of opportunity to do and learn more, leverage on AI, understand, test and try, and keep,
Iterating accordingly. Brilliant. Anne?
For me, it's all about listening to our customers or our potential customers and not being too proud to be super agile. You might be very emotionally invested in a campaign, but actually if the evidence is saying actually that's not going to work, it's not going to resonate, it's kind of say, okay, draw a line and move on.
For me, it's about creating moments. Because moments can create anything that comes after it, from performance up to anything that you want to drive for your brand.
And this is the kind of panels that we like, with completely different viewpoints on everything. A round of applause to them as we conclude. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hughes and May and Matthew. That was a brilliant, very, very awakening panel. So heading off into our next session, remember all of those amazing little experiences I was talking to you about? Well, now's the time. It's bingo time. So if you pay attention to the cards on your desk, each of you have a card. Neil is going to be giving us an amazing presentation on how to incorporate agentic AI into our workflows. He's going to be talking about very technical things. So if you see the words that he is saying on your cards, just cross them out. And then the first to yell bingo when you have all of the words crossed out wins the PS5. And feel free to yell during the sessions, like the first one, the first come, first serve. So without any further ado, Neil is going to be taking the stage. And before he comes on, here's a video from Climate AI.
Climate video. Video.
So please join me in welcoming Neil Pandya, the founder and global CEO of Climate AI.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me loud? Okay. It feels good to be back in campaign exactly after a year, Nadeem and Anup. Great job, Anup, Nadeem, for taking campaign to different heights. I'm not self-obsessed. That's my team who takes revenge for me working, making them work over the weekend or maybe some late nights. They've taken enough revenge because there are a lot of my avatars on the slide. Before I get started and set the context, guys, I just want to ask a simple question to everyone. Have you, most of you would have run marketing funnel campaigns. In the first week itself, I'm assuming it feels like babysitting a newborn, like getting up at 2 a.m. and changing diapers. In our case, changing UTM, fixing UTM trackers, which are not working, maybe changing budgets, etc. And if nothing happens, go to the nanny, in our case, Manny, the media agency or the media team, to fix everything what you need. That's what, and imagine a situation now that all of this thing can run in real time. And that's what I'm going to talk about, when agentic AI can not just assist marketing, but also run on its own. Setting context about Ramadan, if you guys have spent one Ramadan in the region across GCC, you would relate to each one of the facts which I have sent here on the slide. The first one is my favorite because 67% of the audience pay more attention during Ramadan. And I'm assuming 100% of the audience in the room is going to pay more attention to the particular presentation because you have a PS5 which is going to be given away. And why 67%? Because most of the Ramadan advertising have offers which goes on, and I'm one of them who look forward to it. Everyone in Ramadan is advertising, and hence the ad spend increases by 60%. Everyone wants to ensure things are acted really fast. So what I believe today, Ramadan period, is to speed up everything, speed test your ecosystem, rather creating bigger and larger games as well. Little bit context setting on agentic AI, and then gone are the days when we are asking a question that are we using AI? Rather, we are asking, why are we doing things manually? So that's where it answers that almost 78% of the Fortune 500 companies are using agentic AI. 55% have already adopted some workflow managements, and 19% of the organization is already using them. So that's little context setting. If you don't like any one of this, please again scan the QR code. Don't want to listen to me. You have an opportunity to win a PS5 and also a free 1-week trial on Climate Track as well. Let me set a context on what marketing operating system is today, right? It's about Windows 98. Everything is manual. You manually create campaigns, you manually optimize it, you manually go on the platforms and set up the campaigns. Imagine we are sitting in an era where everything, entire agentic AI layer is coming over it, and that's what I'm going to talk about. I know most of you would have done media planning. Imagine yourself as a media planner sitting in an agency side or sitting on the brand side. 5 to 15 days in a month generally goes around setting up your entire campaign. Imagine the funny part here is that your major job starts once the campaign goes live. So what I'm going to talk about is two different scenarios with the same goal. Like imagine the situation today without agentic AI, if you are a media planner or a marketer, and with agentic AI, how things change pretty fast. And that happens again. Okay. I've taken some examples. A big disclaimer, the video is just for representation purpose. I heard Anne in the first presentation. This one is for Alshaya Group. And also for media planners in the room. Imagine getting a right campaign brief is the most difficult job. Like either you get a message from your client that I need a campaign which should go viral, or it is unstructured, there are no detailed information required. Now imagine if there is a prompt-based agentic ecosystem which creates a 3-4 pager PDF which includes everything what you want as a campaign brief to be part of it. This is just an example about Starbucks and Alshaya Group. You just need to type that, I am brand manager of Starbucks and I need to create a media campaign brief. It will just go run on its own and create a beautiful PDF, which is editable, which will have all of your impacts, like, which market, what do you want to do, how do you want to measure, and imagine this happening in 30 seconds. So an unstructured brief to a structured PDF is ready in less than 30 seconds. Yep. Okay. Research in minutes. How many of you in the room have used GWI as a platform? Yeah, you guys will relate, right? First of all, getting a GWI laptop in your office is a pain. Then getting a cut out of GWI takes hours and you don't relate which that right cut is in the right form, what you wanted. Now imagine having an agent working and giving you all those 6-hour data in less than 30 seconds. So that you can have your strategy in place. Again, taking an example of Beud, if Ramya is in the room, sorry, but this is just a representation purpose. If Beud wants to relaunch or relaunch a new campaign in this region, how does it work? So it will basically run everything which you can do it in GWI in less than 30 seconds and give you detailed information about what is your product positioning, what is your pricing should be, what is competition doing in the region, and how do you need to react. So imagine a 6-hour job with one laptop getting done in 30 seconds. That's how agentic can work. Going to the next opportunity, how agentic can work for creative ecosystem. I heard Mai also speaking about they're using creative studios to do that. Now imagine a scenario before agentic. I mean, you don't know when the creative is getting fatigued. Adaptation is a pain point for most of you in the room. Imagine you want to do a heat map analysis. You need to wait a lot of manual intervention to get the output. Now, again, if Jonathan is in the room, sorry, I'm taking an example of Puma, just for representation purpose. What I've done here is that I've just uploaded an existing creative of Puma and asked the agent that give me a heat map analysis and even get me some more variants out of that. So this is how it will look into. It's a prompt-based, you just need to chat, upload the creative. This was the creative which we uploaded. It will first go ahead and score the creative, do the heat map analysis, give you an output of heat map, which will look something like this, and tell you where exactly the audience are paying attention. And now I want adapts of this thing to be done. So everything in chat-based, you get the output in real time, so you don't need to wait. And I'm sure if you put your brand guidelines, everything into a thing, the output will be more relatable as well, right? So that was the fourth example. Now the most pain point which I've seen, and I've been a planner myself as well, imagine
Climate AI's
imagine uploading, imagine creating a media plan and then uploading that campaign on Meta, Google, TikTok, LinkedIn, everywhere. A planner is using 4 to 5 days in a month, or maybe, and post that also, there are hundreds of, not hundreds, I would say, that will be, there are like almost 20-30% discrepancies around naming conventions, something has not been uploaded right. Imagine an agent doing all of this thing for you. So this is how, just an example of Alfutim IKEA. Carlife is in the room, just taking an example. This is on my Climate platform. If that can go live, yeah. Create a website conversion campaign of 1000 AED. A simple brief with targeting with a landing page. First, what it will do, it will give you a detailed summary. It will create your campaign. It will create your ad set. While it is doing all of this thing in real time, it is also going and uploading the same thing on a Meta platform or a Google platform based on this. So if you see, everything which you saw in the summary has been in real time, gone on a Meta Ads platform and been uploaded there in real time as well. So that's another pain point which I see as a planner. So what I'm trying to do today is that we want to create a marketing operating system of 2026 which can do all the jobs of a marketer or a media planner in real time. Now, there's another example of if you have, the campaign is over, you need reporting. It's easy to have hundreds of reports or hundreds of dashboards to look at it, but do you want to stare at it? Or do you want an agent to act as your team member and recommend what is going around? So imagine a situation again that the agent is reading all your report, all your dashboards, and recommending you in real times with notifications that X thing on Y platform is not working, you should pause it right now. Y thing on the Z platform is working beautifully well, can you increase the budget in real time? You just need to accept and reject those particular recommendations, and it can go live on that. So guys, this is a simple example of what I feel agents can do. But what we have built as Climate, I'm not selling Climate, but under agentic AI era, is a day in life of a planner. Whatever he has been doing or she has been doing can be done through agents. So right from making a brief to a marketing strategy to even a media plan. Imagine you connect your accounts and it will read your historical data and tell you your next month's media plan in real time. Creatives to be done, campaign management, competitive analysis, real-time optimization, and even reporting. So entire day in life of a planner has been done. Then you can a little bit chill and even win, and even play PS5 if you win that as well. So this is one example. So whatever I said, this is one of the examples which we work with Stellantis and Publicis as a group, which explain how did we deliver efficiencies for them.
Climate AI's programmatic and agentic intelligence layer is built with planning, execution, creative, analytics, and optimizer agent, all inside one responsive chat interface, enabling faster planning, smarter execution, real-time optimization, and higher ROI. With Climate's agentic AI ecosystem, you can optimize at scale while retaining quality. With this, brands at Stellantis recorded exceptional growths in Q4. Stellantis launched 86 campaigns, 167 ad sets, and created 479 ads. Not for the whole year, but for November and December alone. Maximizing throughput at scale. All this was possible with Climate's cross-platform infrastructure. Our platform provides seamless cross-platform monitoring and optimizations. Choose to edit the audience, add to existing campaigns, or create campaigns from scratch. With just one prompt, create high-performing campaigns in minutes. Stellantis launched 86 campaigns in under 8 weeks, saving 600+ manual hours, and optimized cross-platform performance from a single interface, leaving underperformance in the rear-view mirror. Stellantis did not optimize for volumes alone, but achieved quality at scale with Climate. Climate's programmatic orchestration enabled custom targeting, providing higher reach and engagement. With Programmatic Plus, Stellantis has surpassed all market benchmarks.
So that was just an example of how we work with Publicis Group and Stellantis together. A little bit about us, guys. We're Climate. The name also talks about climate tech. So we call ourselves Climate Tech, where the climate tech piece was the first video which you saw, where we measure carbon emission for all your marketing campaigns, like TV, print, radio, out of home, cinema, everything. Marketing tech, what you saw was the agentic AI ecosystem and the Programmatic Plus, and even a last offsets angle of climate angle as well. So this is us, guys. Apart from this ugly face, there are two handsome boys in the room who has worked amazingly well, which is Parth and Moin. So if you have any questions for us, please reach out to us. And as promised, Anup, 20% efficiency on time as well. So I'm finishing at least 2 minutes before. And if you want to win a PS5, please. I've not said this words. Amazing. Okay, consumer. Let's talk about consumers, right? I don't want to say just the word, right? Let's talk about consumers, how we can read about consumer behavior and everything in real time. And this was not what which was.
Oh, we got a winner. It's okay. Fine, done.
Sorry, do I have a winner?
Yeah,
Are you sure? I want to check that word. Is it?
Yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, he's got the one. Yeah.
He's got the one?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Tony is the winner, guys. Sorry if you guys didn't do it, Tony. Are we giving away the PS5 right away to Tony? Or to and then towards them? Let Tony also enjoy the game. Thank you so much, guys. We are here around. Any questions, please reach out to us.
Summarize what you've said and
Thank you so much, Neil. That was like a very, very lively ending to that session. And congratulations to Tony for winning the PS5. Stick around to collect that at the end. We'll also be announcing the winner of the Yasmina speaker at the end of the session. So if you haven't yet, do scan the QR code at the bottom of those figurines and enter your details. Now, moving on swiftly to our second panel for the day. This one's going to be talking about Ramadan storytelling. And to join this panel, please welcome Al-Ain, Carla, Jack, and Jonathan. Sorry if I could just bring you guys to this side of the stage. Everyone hear me? All right, let's do a little bit of rearranging. If we could sit where our images are.
You've actually worn the same Puma shirt that's on your picture. That's amazing, bruv.
So, good morning again, everyone here. Thank you for being part of our lovely audience. We're going to have an incredibly candid discussion on work that makes an impact. So, let's start with the theme of this panel, Ramadan storytelling. During the Holy Month of Ramadan, we want to see brands engage with consumers in ways that are meaningful, and then use that season as a benchmark to set standards for the year ahead in terms of winning not just engagement, but building trust with consumers. It's a lot to think about, really, and earlier it was mentioned that these days, audiences aren't going to be very cautious when it comes to voicing their opinions on work that is good. So building on that insight, Carla, could you share your thoughts on why and how brands should recalibrate how they view and review attention, intent, and trust during the Holy Month to make engagement a bit more meaningful?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Yes, what we have seen this year with Ramadan, we have really focused on go on the relationship with the customer, also to reach new consumers. Last November, we have introduced our new brand platform. IKEA is here to be part of your story. And from there, we have seen that each campaign will be based on this. And for example, for Ramadan, it's the perfect campaign for that, because we are here this year also 35 years as Alpha Time IKEA, and it's very important that we can build this relationship. And for Ramadan, we did a campaign, small talks, big gestures. And this is extremely a good performance campaign at the moment. So it's good. Next to that, we have introduced our Ramadan collection, Gokvala. And we have from next week on a Ramadan buffet, iftar buffet. So it's really that we want to have this dialogue with the community, special for Ramadan.
Brilliant. And building on that idea of community, Al-Ain, if you could tell us, how can brands differentiate themselves during the Holy Month and really capitalize on that attention and that intent, that trust?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm representing Meta, so every year
we refresh our understanding of how people behave on our platforms, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and so on. Over the last 7-8 years, we haven't really uncovered something completely new. Everyone knows behavior shifts during Ramadan. What happens though is this behavior adjusts to new platforms, new surfaces on these apps. And so when it comes to attention, for example, we invite brands to think of engaging formats, moving from attention to actually participation. And on that note, Reels has become our biggest surface on the platform. Today, 50% of the time spent on Instagram is on Reels. How many of you, by a show of hand, watched a Reel this morning? Almost all of the room. How many of you shared a Reel with a friend this morning? A bit of drop-off, but that's participation. That's what we mean by actually participating. And then also on that front, it needs to be authentic as well. What we're seeing is a rise of creator-first campaigns. I mean, maybe last year or 2 years ago, it was enough to include a creator element in your campaign. Now we're seeing brands adopting a creative-first approach, so leading with creators to run their campaigns. On the intent piece, I think it starts with discovery. About 50% of the people we survey mentioned that they discover brands on social media. However, only 35% of them discovered on search, going with intent. So this gap is very important for the brands in the room to start to push the intent, which starts with discovery. And finally, on the trust piece, for us, we're seeing also a huge rise in business messaging. Today, there are 1 billion messages sent between people and businesses every day on our platform. That's a huge number. If you as a marketeer or as a brand, you're not thinking about building that conversation and building that trust specifically during Ramadan, you're probably missing out. So that's an overview of how we think about moving the conversation during Ramadan.
Brilliant. And I know that you mentioned content used to sometimes only consider creator collaboration as an afterthought, but now it's become a very central piece of brand messaging. So I would always think as content, like it's nothing without a hero figure. You need that celebrity, you need that partnership with an influencer, content creator, podcaster, someone who is recognized, especially by audiences in the Middle East, and people resonate with. So Jack, would you be able to tell us a little bit about how marketers can lean into these partnerships with creators, celebrities, podcasters to signal genuine intent without coming off as performative or intrusive?
Yeah, absolutely. This is working.
Can we hear Jack? Do you want to?
Hello. Oh, Jesus, sorry. Hi, everyone. First of all, yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, on that note, I think what we have seen specifically at Anghami and a branch of what we do called Anghami Studios is that we identified that brands want to have a story told, but they don't know how they want their story to be told. And this is where we come in and we find the right profile. You're very much right in what you said about being a hero and being a very well-recognized figure, but then we've realized demand in these markets specifically are actually resonating with people that they know locally, be it, a local Saudi female race driver or, the examples go on and on. So I think the shift is always going to be towards telling your story through content. We help brands with that, but I think the shift is going away from that big mega, having Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on a podcast, where actually brands are now focusing more on the smaller macro influencers, I want to say, and the micro influencers, and actually be able to resonate their message and their story through stuff that we produce for them. So social series, podcasts, songs, across the board really. And again, it's our mission as Anghami to actually focus on the regional talent that we have and give them the stage that they deserve. And most of the brands want to be seen as leaders, as part of the growth and helping these people get the recognition that they deserve.
Mm-hmm. And Jack, Jonathan, I know that you at Puma have a lot of experience with working with these kinds of creators. The local runner, the person who's playing basketball out at the Satwa courts. Could you tell us about how do you tap these partnerships to signal intent from a brand perspective?
Yeah, for sure. Again, good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting point. Now, I think when we look at marketing and how we go to market, so I'm talking the holistic plan here, these, whether you call them partnerships, content creators, ambassadors, influencers, what is super key for us, and it sits across two different categories. We have performance, because again, we're all about product. Everything starts with the product and what we're looking to promote. From a performance lens, it's all about, for us, credibility. Now, when we work with people, the first question we ask is, how much do they love the brand? We want to genuinely want to work with people who want to work with us. That's the first point. And then I think when you pivot over to lifestyle or sports style, then we shift the focus again to influence. But still, we ask the question, are these people genuine, authentic, and want to work with us? Now that gets prioritised over reach, your big macro 10 million, and this again, I think this word has been used a lot. It comes down to that relevance and that connection to your audience and to the specific market that you're in. So, but again, what we're talking about here, this is just one tool in our arsenal of the entire go-to-market plan. It's an important part because, again, from a brand perspective, you've got to ask yourself, where are you at in a particular market? Puma Global, that's different. They bring the heat. It all starts there, boom. But again, if you compare Europe to the GCC, our brand life cycle is completely different. And I'll take the example of performance again. We are working right now with people who are again going to bring us and going to talk about our product. There's no good me up here talking about how great Puma is, because I'm getting paid for it, and that's my job. But we need the voice of credible people to be able to help us in our journey and make that forward progress. So again, it's one element of the bigger picture. So yeah, it's really interesting to hear these different perspectives.
Yeah, and thinking of that bigger picture, yes, we can work with these influencers, these creators on a one-on-one basis, but today's world, it's increasingly, the amount of platform integration, it's increasingly compounding, it's growing. And it's not just with the social media that we use now. We've got screens, we've got social media taking off in different markets, but talking about brands that are based in the region. So when we look at all of these cross-platform integration, all of that, when it comes to Ramadan, Alain, could you tell us a bit about what media mixes and content formats seem to be working right now for the region?
Absolutely. Tactically speaking, brands should follow platforms where they can maximize the reach on. I can speak on Meta. The combination of all the platforms give you a very high reach in all our markets. In this region, the Ramadan active markets as well. We know over the years that campaigns that run consistently for a long period of time during Ramadan end up achieving a higher ad recall. Therefore, if your campaigns haven't started now, you're very, very late. At least 2-3 weeks before Ramadan, priming your audiences and then continuing to after Eid with the Ramadan messaging. And most importantly, with mixed asset campaigns. Mixed asset campaigns versus very singular campaigns with one creatives perform better 95% of the times, achieve a higher ad recall. And by mixed assets, we mean multiple creative messages. By the use of AI today, you're reducing the human decisions. You're not necessarily deciding on all the placements or all the specific audiences. You let the system optimize for you, but you input so many creatives. And then you let the system match the best creative, the best messaging to the best people. I'm price sensitive. I want to see something related to pricing. Others might be more SKU driven. They want to see that type of communication. When it comes to Meta specifically, we're talking about real ads. Partnership ads, it's not enough to just tie up with a creator. It's good to also boost it, target it, be able to measure it through partnership ads. There's a layer of Advantage Plus campaigns. These are our AI-driven solutions for you to automate all the performance aspect. And when it comes to WhatsApp, you can always play in different ways. If the platform is ready, you can send traffic to it, clicks to WhatsApp. You can prompt the conversation with marketing messages. That's really from the Meta ecosystem. But if there is no broader story being told, broader activations being told across media, offline, online, across multiple platforms, including Anghami, for example, I think that's how you think about holistically building your campaign. Mixed assets, mixed platforms, and mixed channels, of course.
Thank you, Elaine. And Carla, from the perspective of IKEA, what is your ideal strategy for cross-platform integration?
For us, it is it's not that we go automatically for each campaign 360. So we really look at the messaging and what is the best format for each channel. And for example, our biggest channel, of course, is still the IKEA store. And there, of course, we will, especially now, we really look in our room settings to have the sparkle in it, to have the people recognize themselves that it's also affordable to do a small change. But for example, on the social media platforms, it's really that we go for the visual aspect also, but short films. And food is super important in this period for us, like what we already said, an iftar buffet, or for example, this Ramadan calendar we have made this time, and also that for the little ones, that is still something there. The other thing is what we see is working with influencers is very, for us also super important. And last week we did our press event, and almost we don't have to say it anymore. People really sign up themselves, and they want to come to the IKEA press events. And that is also amazing to see. It goes automatically.
Lovely. I think that's every marketer's goal, is
Yes.
to just set that standard. Jack, your thoughts on cross-platform integration from like Anghami's perspective?
Yeah, definitely. I think from Anghami's perspective, obviously we have to be quite sensitive considering the fact that we started as an Arab brand, as who we are, and that most of our users are of that nationality, shall we say. So we see brands that are coming towards us specifically to target the locals rather than the other metas or wherever where you have your wider reach. So what we do very well is that we kind of create different formats that are less intrusive to not come across too different to the audience, because we have audiences that will shift their usage from, they won't be listening to music during the month of Ramadan, which is to be expected. So we kind of mix and match between the content that we create and how we create it, the story we're telling it, but also then we have to be very careful about how we're releasing these contents. So we work closely with TikTok, with Meta, with other publishers as well about, okay, let's release this episode or this short specifically after Iftar, after Eid. And we basically plan it based on our users and how we see them consuming everything that we're putting together. But yeah, it's a big part of what we do. And then on the other side of it, we completely go dark in the sense that we create something called Ramadan mode, where you won't be actually seeing any ads or seeing anything that you don't want to see that shouldn't be considered intrusive, while still being able to get a message to you across in a subtle way that isn't offensive to anyone that's going through the Holy Month. So I think it's a mix of collaborating with other publishers that help us do these things, and us basically learning a lot about our users from our data and making sure that we're not coming across in any way that's rude or offensive, and making sure that the brands are still getting their message across.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very interesting, Ramadan mode, dark mode. Jonathan, we'd love to hear from you as well on this. How important, and more importantly, really, why is it so important to get this media mix right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think who I enjoyed really listening to was Maya, and when she spoke about full funnel and the whole traditional marketing, because that's, again, I can align with her completely, and a true believer in that, because ultimately the funnel plays a role at different areas, but again, we'll always start with product. What are we looking to push? Then for a tier 1 campaign, I think someone already mentioned this, for a tier 1 campaign, it will be always full funnel. Now, again, go back to the product. If we have more a feminine skewed SKU or style, that plays a huge role in the type of media plan that you put together. Whereas if we have a unisex shoe, or even something that's a bit louder, ultimately what it comes down to is that the product will guide you, steer you in the direction you want to go. Now, what can really help us when we come to the media aspect of it, and particularly when we've got to push multiple messages, when you've got at the top of awareness, consideration, and your lower funnel, that is where, and I'll take my hat off to the AI guy, the use of AI really helps us being able to optimize our audiences, and at every stage of the funnel we can actually adjust to the audience and message that we want to push. But again, I think the ultimate thing it comes down to is we do look at the full funnel approach for a tier 1 campaign, but again, product drives all of our decisions, and how we eventually get to that end result is purely through that. Now again, if it's tier 2, tier 3, another level of campaign, we may purely look from a performance lens to really drive traffic to our online or our stores or whatnot. So again, I think to answer the question, it really comes down to product.
Okay. Could I put you on the spot a little bit?
Depends.
Would anyone be happy to? Say, for example, me. I'm a female, Gen Z. If you were launching a new sneaker, what would you think is the best way to reach me at my convenience? What is your strategy there?
Female, Gen Z. So again, I go back to the product we've got. I'll just take, let's say it's H Street, for example. That's something that's female skewed. So we've got different colorways now. How we ultimately will put that together is, and again, I'll go back. We'll just say it's a tier 1 campaign. We'll do full funnel. We will ultimately build an experience across all the different touch points. This goes to retail, online, physical experience, ambassadors, influencers, PR and comms, all of these, and also we'll extend our ecosystem into wholesale. So there are so many touch points. For me, hitting the consumer in the most efficient way, it's about how can we join all of those touch points with the right message that will get your attention and will speak volumes to you.
Yeah, I would pay attention if I felt like I was being spoken to, you know?
There you go.
All right, so we're almost done with our time. Any parting messages? Alain, would you like to kick us off, and then we'll just go down the line?
WhatsApp. I think the rest is...
That's it.
You know, all the points that were discussed are not completely new, but this year we're seeing a huge uptick on WhatsApp. So for the marketeers who haven't started yet, now is the time to figure out your strategy. It's not an ad placement, it's a platform, it's a way of taking the conversation forward with your customers, improving the customer experience, specifically during times like Ramadan, where people are actually seeking to connect with brands.
Yeah, brilliant. Carla, your thought?
For us, it is really to continue this, have the engagement with our consumers, but also to build on the new brand platform what we have launched. Aki is here to be part of your story. We cannot mention it enough. And of course, yeah, everybody is welcome to partner with us.
Definitely. Jonathan?
I've just been to IKEA, by the way. We're moving house. Yeah.
No complaints.
Okay.
Best customer
Best
experience.
Yeah, again, what I'm probably about to say is nothing new. Old, I think, purpose. What's your purpose? Relevance and timing. I think these are the three key things that I get our guys, our team, everyone to think top of mind. Focusing on what you want to do and what you want to achieve. And lastly is when you do it. For us, delivering something impactful, it's about timing. And I think to summarise the Ramadan period from our brand perspective is just to be mindful. We take that thought process into everything that we do during this period and pivot from there.
Brilliant. Jack, your final thoughts?
I would just say everyone stay tuned and keep a close eye on the type of content that's going to be coming out of the region in this year's, in Ramadan specifically, in Eid, and then what's going to come after. I think marketeers and brands should start paying attention to actually how well these assets are actually doing and the type of formats that are basically changing on a day-to-day, like Alain said, that we've all watched the reel today, for example. So there's a lot to come, and I think the region has a big thirst for this type of content. And again, at Rami, we're trying to make sure that that comes across to all of the brand and marketeers and the local influencers. So stay tuned for the big stuff that's coming. And yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Brilliant. So thank you, all of our speakers. Really, I think the top takeaways here are mindfulness, intent, being relevant, being present. And speaking about presence, oop, my mic's gone off.
There you go.
Sorry. Oh, there we go. We're back. Speaking about presence, Carla has brought a little gift for all of our panelists here. So yeah, it's okay. We're keeping it real. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We don't have gifts for everybody, sorry.
In my suitcase. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
One for you, Chantal.
Yeah, here.
Okay, one for me.
I'll
Yay!
take the rest later. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Carla,
guys.
Jack, Jonathan, Alain. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, you're introducing the panel.
We've been having tech issues this morning. Thank you again to our lovely panelists, Jack, Carla, Alain, and Jonathan. That was brilliant. Now, for our last session of the day, the spicy one, we're going to be putting you guys at the forefront. We want to know what your burning questions are. So, if you haven't already, we will be pulling up the QR code again for the Ask Me Anything session. You can send in your questions. We've got an amazing panelist of speakers. I would like you to join me in welcoming Ramya Menon. She's the Marketing Director at Beirut. Ali Rez, the Regional Chief Creative Officer at Impact BBDO. Alka, do I see Alka? Is she in the room? Oh, Alka's here. Alka Winter, the Vice President of Destination Marketing and Communications for Ras Al Khaimah Tourism Development Authority, and Joe Laham, the Managing Director of TBWA RAD.
Thank you.
Hello.
Check, 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 check. As you come to this table, it starts working. Check. Can you hear me in the back?
Yeah.
No? Okay, we shall use this one. No, it's fine, it's fine. Check. Whoa. Let's go. Okay, first off, why don't we come front a bit? Are you comfortable coming front a bit? No. Okay, we shall sit where we are. We're going to keep this nice and authentic. This is your one chance to ask them questions. Can we bring up the other slide, please? There are a couple of people I see who have already asked a few questions, and we're going to direct it to them. First off, let's give them a round of applause for being brave enough. Completely unscripted panel, completely on the spot. So consider yourselves officially under the bus already. We'll just get the bus rolling. Can we get the questions up on stage. I have a couple of them that have come through. Can't wait to see this. Already here. First off, thank you guys for asking some questions as well. There are about, oh wow, 5 questions have come up already. That's pretty, 3 are pinned, and we shall take these. Okay, so hands up for, you don't get to see the questions, only the audience gets to see the questions, yeah? So hands up on whoever wants to take the first one.
Go ahead.
Okay, Remya and Joe, let's go. The first question that's been asked is, what's the most painful problem within the industry that we need to solve together? Ramya.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here, and pleasure to meet all of you. I think this is something that's come up in a lot of discussions, measurement, and I'll caveat this. Measurement is not the problem. I think the expectation that we come up with a solution to every measurement question is the problem. I think when, as marketers, and we're in that privileged position now where we have a lot of measurement tools, whether it's MMM, whether it's attribution-based measurement, but this question always comes up. If I have a single meeting with my CEO and this does not come up, I would find that very, very interesting. So I think measurement is a problem, and how we solve it, I think, is by making sure that we understand what our matrices are. Oftentimes, we're using measurement without knowing if we're measuring the right outcomes, or even if we know what the intended outcome is. And I think I have Ali and Joe here from the agency side, so I think this is a very unique problem even in that sense, because clients often can come to agencies without knowing what they want to measure or solve, right? So I think accountability from within needs to come first, so that we are aligned on what we need to do as marketers and not be overwhelmed by all of the noise. So I think to me, that's the biggest challenge.
Perfect. Joe, is measurement your biggest problem, or do we have bigger problems than that?
No, I think we have bigger problems. Measurement is something that is useful and is needed. I think the industry over time has focused a lot on methodologies, processes, AI. I'm not saying that these are not important, but everything is like, especially with the consumer attention, that's really going low and low. I think we lost what we call the magic, which is, be it fun, be it emotional, be it really having the consumer to have the stopping power to really have some attention and look at what you've been doing. If you look at recently the Super Bowl ads, we were all exposed to different Super Bowl ads, and I think only 2 or 3 of them resonate, that really created something that is emotional. They created a space, they left a mark in you within the sea of the AI sameness, if I may say. So yes, I'm not saying that measurement is not important, KPIs are not important, but I think all of us collectively, we need to bring the magic and the spark in what we're doing.
Speaking about bringing the magic back, and I mean, I like the way you've spoken creativity, and we've got Ali here, who's also Chief Creative Officer. Ali, the second question that's come up on the big board is, what is one of the biggest mistakes that you've made that the rest of us can learn from?
Man, the list is long. Look, I think this is a great question. This is amazing.
In this industry, we speak so much about what we've done right.
Yeah.
We don't speak enough about what we've done wrong that others can learn from.
I think, firstly, just broadly, I'd like to say that unless you're making mistakes, you're not doing the right things. Right. You have to make mistakes in order to get to the right thing. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I can speak about myself is that I've said yes to going ahead with mediocre work. Because there's been pressure from a brand, perhaps, because there's a time crunch. And at the end of the day, as somebody I worked with once said very nicely, is that when the work is released, nobody cares if you didn't have enough time or money or if you were too conservative with the approach. They're just looking at the work and saying,
was it good or was it not?
This is not good.
Yep.
So you brought up the Super Bowl, which is amazing to bring up, and I mean, I'll bring up the polar bear commercial, right? And the whole world now knows about the polar bear commercial, and it's just such a simple way in. There have been so many Super Bowl spots. Nobody's out there justifying that, oh, we didn't do it good enough because of this reason. Nobody cares. So I think the biggest mistake that I look back at some of the work that could have been greater is saying yes to going ahead with the mediocre option. You don't, once it's done, it's done.
Interesting. We've got a question which I think is, I like the fact that all the questions are anonymous, yeah? They have to answer the questions to you, but you guys are all asking these questions anonymously. Anyway, we've got a question, I think, which suits both client and agency side. I like the fact that we've got 2 clients here and 2 agency leaders here. So how do we position and sell marketing as a growth investment rather than a cost and rather than as a commercial expense? Is there a need, and I'll come to you on this, Alka, is there a need for us as clients to shift that perspective that marketing is a cost, both internally on the ExCo in our conversations, but also in the way we deal with agencies, deal with them as partners rather than vendors? And from the agency side, are you feeling this pinch as well? Alka?
Yeah, you know what this is.
There's always one mic that doesn't work. Ali, you want to share your mic?
Thank you so much. Okay, that one, thanks. I think that's a really good question, because marketing is sometimes seen as a cost center, and I joined a seminar yesterday. It was all about marketing, and one of the key takeaways was the strength of the brand is measured by the strength of the CMO and CFO relationship, and that is critical. I think also, as marketing people, we love the promotion side. We love working with our agencies and getting output there. We don't always look at what the business problem is, and we don't bring our partners in as to what the business problems is. So I think there's a lot of framing that needs to take place in order to drive those business results with creativity, with impact, with metrics, but sometimes we lose sight of the North Star.
And what happens agency side when we lose sight of the North Star? Joe and Ari?
I think from my side, like growth or really investing is mainly in the brand. Quoting back Ali's Super Bowl ad on Pepsi and versus Coke, like see really how the brand stay true to what they are. See how the brand is really focusing on growth. I think looking at the details of, okay, that's the cost per acquisition, that's exactly what I'm going to do for Ramadan, just on a transactional level, is a recipe for failure and decline. The bigger investment here is how can we really keep or stay true to the brand purpose? How can we elevate that? And also we've been exposed and learned and read a lot of articles about the right audience at the right time, at the right moment. There are some messaging matrix for these when it comes to the funnel. But when it comes to really building big brand emotional connection, this is the pure matrix for brand to grow.
I love that, Joe, because Ali, I'll come to you on this also. From an idealistic point of view, and I'm very much like Joe, I'm a little altruistic, utopian in my viewpoints on life, but in real life, you've got, and I'll state problems that are currently within the market. You've got retainers that went from 5 years to 3 years to 1 year. Now we're working on a project basis, right? From an agency side, how much can you push for growth, push for creativity, push for that when you're working on such a short time scale and you need to deliver in order to defend well?
Look, I was just looking at this question, and I think it's not just marketing as a growth investment, but I think creative marketing, I think, should be a build on that. And the proof is in looking at the most valuable brands in the world right now. You have Apple, you have Nike, you have IKEA. I mean, all have been built on the basis of really remarkable marketing. So there's no, I think we're beyond a little bit this discussion, honestly. What you're talking about in terms of reducing the time factor, in terms of retainers, yes, that does have an impact sometimes. I mentioned that in my earlier answer as well. Obviously, the longer time you have with a brand agency relationship, the longer you get to know each other, the more fruitful the relationship becomes, the more fruitful the work output becomes. So I think that is something that needs to be looked at. Again, if you look at some of the most amazing relationships, they have yielded really incredible work. That's because of the relationship in place. So that's definitely something I feel like we should also move up to the first question of what we could change about the industry.
We'll come back because I think we'll end on that note of what we need to change. But before we go there, there's an interesting question, a kind of question that we expected to come up, but it has actually come up, and we'll do this around because a lot of us within the marketing and advertising space get siloed in our work. We love the campaigns we do. We know the campaigns we do. And occasionally, maybe on campaign, maybe on Ad Age, maybe on Marketing Week, or maybe during the Super Bowl, we do see a couple of other ads, right? But if I were to look over the past 12 months, not just the Super Bowl, not just Bad Bunny and, and the polar bear and everything else that's come out, what ad has stood out to you that you were not involved in and why? We'll start with Rami and go really quickly down.
One from this, I think it was fairly recent. It's the Do ad, which is bridging spaces. And I think that was so well executed because there was no technical jargon crowding your experience as somebody who's seeing the ad or experiencing it. And it was creative while delivering the message, because we all know that we use technology to enhance our lives, right? It's a given. But it was done so beautifully, and it resonated with all of us. If you have family away from where you are, connecting with them, finding out they're safe, they're secure, that feeling was very well captured, and you could instantly take away what the use case was without it being drilled down, right? And I think we have to give the audience the credit for understanding what the purpose is. The other one that I will talk about, it was an older ad, but I think still very relevant, the IKEA ad, which was proudly second best. I think that was also very creative and really, I think, tugged on your heartstrings, right? So these are the ones that stood out to me.
Joe?
For me, I'll start from the why and then I'll give you an example. So I put them in two different buckets. The first one is when you have really powerful brand purpose, add to that a product truth. And I'll give that, and one of the examples is our friends, colleagues at BBDO, they did the Cheetos pants. Like, brilliant, really brilliant ideas. And it's on purpose, on the brand purpose, but at the same time, it's solving a really it's really sticking to the brand truth and solving a problem. The other bucket is the brand purpose that is market relevance. And when you talk about these like cultural relevance, regional topical relevance, and also I go to that like, an initiative that was done, and I know I'm talking about something that we've worked on, but between KFC and Badr in Saudi. So it is really speaking to the people. It's really relevant to the culture. And this is something like these two buckets, be it, and then you can categorize them, be it either an ad in the Super Bowl or be it an ad that is relevant. There are a lot of ads that happened across the last year or the last month probably are not relevant to us, but they're relevant to the context where they are being served.
I like that. I also like the use of the term buckets and KFC, but you've got me hungry now. I don't think you did that on purpose.
Pun intended.
Ali?
Does this have to be from the region or from anywhere?
Yeah.
Look, I think I'll pick one that I really loved, which came out around Christmas, and that's the Apple iPhone Christmas ad. And the reason I liked that was, and you'll see this happening more and more, was it was an affront to AI development, right? They did everything in stop motion, they built these puppets, they built everything by hand, and then they made a making-of video which showed the world that they made it by hand. Authenticity and craft, I think this is going to become a battlefield going into 2026 and beyond. And the architecture of a campaign is going to be sometimes as important as the campaign itself. And we'll see that. We'll see that a lot more about, I think, Absolute just released a campaign for their spicy vodka, and again, they built a volcano by hand. Yeah. It's like old-fashioned movie set building. And then they did a behind-the-scenes video as well. So I think I'm looking out for campaigns that focus a lot more on how did we make this happen, which is a story on its own.
I was going to say Cheeto pants as well. There's some reaction I get because it's just, especially as they're wearing white pants. For me, it was one, I think, that won the Titanium Grand Prix in Cannes, the AXA home insurance one, which was really driven by PR. And this was a campaign where home insurance in France, there's a clause that says that there's automatic relocation in case of floods, natural disasters, and they added 3 words, and domestic violence. Right. And that pertained to women and men who were experiencing this at home but couldn't find a way out, and this really protected them. I thought it's so society shaping that, and it was so simple and clear that it really was amazing.
Excellent. I'm just waiting for the next few questions to come up. But in the meantime, I'll also say I like the varied approaches that we have to picking our favorite campaigns. There's the emotional aspect to it, there's the cultural relevance aspect to it, there's the craft aspect to it, and what you said resonates with us personally. One of the campaigns that stood out the most, now the questions have come, oh wonderful, we've got the real meat coming out now. One of the campaigns that stood out to me the most was the Apple campaign on privacy. And that was a time with all these birds, flying around and standing around. And I think that did the round when we went to Cannes Lion as well last year. It came, I think, what I'd like to say is it's adding to cultural relevance, adding to emotion, adding to craft. It was also the timing on that was so perfect. Yeah. That it came out at a time where literally I couldn't even make this up. Like my wife just called and said, listen, if I send you something from Dubai and over WhatsApp or over a certain tool to France, would they be able to see it? Is anyone watching? Is there anything that we can do on our phones or our apps that prevents people? And at that time, that conversation around it came out. So that was brilliant. Now we come to the juicy questions of transparency and trust within the industry, especially when it comes to pitching, pricing, and reporting on deliverables. That is a loaded question, and I think that will take us an hour to go through. But if we were to take out just bits of it, definitely on the pitching pricing bit, but also in terms of reporting. I don't know which one of you want to take those questions. It's an open forum, so pick. Remy, would you start?
I think because I come from the client side, I will talk about the pitching process, right? Because I think there's a lot of onus on the client to, I think, be very transparent at that point, right? And I think that's where a successful partnership is built, and maybe the seeds of a long-term partnership is built. And I think here, before you get to the agency conversation, it's so very important to align internally. And we're all guilty of this, especially in larger organizations, of working in silos. And within our individual systems, marketing can have a certain goal, product will have their own goal, performance marketing have their goals. It's very important for that conversation to be aligned before we get to the agency stage. Only then do we give our agency partners even the slightest chance of succeeding. So I think there's a real onus on the client to be very, very transparent on what their intended outcomes are, their pain points are, their problem statement, because without that, I don't think we can really deliver any results. So I think that's the most important piece that we need to kind of really be clear on, because there on forward, I think it'll be a successful partnership.
Alka, you and I have spoken about this multiple times in the past as well. Shifting goalposts, the need for clear evaluation criteria, a better brief rather than procurement running the brief, for marketing to run the brief, for clear feedback loops if need be, and for pricing to be a little, clearer. Your thoughts on how we can possibly make this conversation that's been running for 12 years now a little better.
At least, I know. And when we're talking about failures, I mean, this is an area I think we failed at, and My apologies, Ali, as we work closely together. We'll get better. I really think we do our agency partners a disservice from the client perspective. Everything that we're stuck into this notion of 3 options, we don't brief properly. And from a procurement perspective, sometimes we don't push back as much as we should. I'll give you an example, which is a recent example. We were told that we were going into pitching for a certain type of agency, and procurement said, you need to record this. It needs to be on Teams, and it needs to be recorded for audit purposes. And we're like, well, what do you mean? I mean, the agency can't bring their best if they know they're going to be filmed. I can't bring my best. So there's areas of that we just need to push back. When it comes to the pitching part as well, something we're looking at that you and I were talking about is why not introducing a concept development fee or a pitch fee? We're asking a lot of our agencies upfront to deliver work, and the time that they spend doing that and the research and the capabilities and using their sister agencies to do this, only to be told, they're not going forward, or their ideas being appropriated and used, it's really not fair. So there are practices in place that we're looking at because it's such a valuable relationship. And then one of the things in that relationship is giving our agency partners that psychological safety to really bring the best they can. I think what you were saying, Ali, one of the failures is accepting mediocre work. It's also because the client is very rigid in what they want, that you feel you can't push the boundaries, and that's what you get at the end. So I think in this one, there's a whole loop of things that need to be improved.
Okay. This is turning into a very good therapeutic session for all of us. So while we're still at it, from the agency side, what can we do better? Joe and Ali, is there a need for better trust, transparency that we can build from our side in how we portray products and how we report on the deliverables or KPIs that we've been given?
I think from the agency side, there should be a lot of transparency in terms of there are some no-nos. We need to protect our territory. It's a partnership. And I think also from the procurement side, they need to understand that they're there to really safeguard that discipline. It's not a process. It's just a discipline of the relationship, and it's a partnership. I think it's a two-ways relationship, like we need to sit with the client and the procurement at the same time, just to manage that this relationship to really continue healthy. It needs 1, 2, 3, 4. Some agencies might take shortcuts, might kill profit margins. We all want to make money from the client side. They're also procurement. Their role is to save. But today it's not on the expense of the idea, not on the expense of the people. Because if you really end up having cost saving and go cheap, you will not have the best talents. You will not attract the best talents to have really crazy good creative work. And at the same time, the relationship between procurement and the agencies should be a relationship of, okay, I'm safeguarding that discipline. I'm giving the marketing team the right forum for them to discuss the priorities with the agency, and let's just have really fun relationship, because I think we missed that at the essence of what we're doing on a day-to-day.
Take it beyond the transactional, like you said earlier.
Beyond the transactional, 100%.
And that finding that balance, like I said in the opening statement as well, between time, cost, quality. Ali, what you've been in this industry for, God knows how long at this point, and you've won multiple awards. You've become a benchmark for many people in this industry. What's it going to take us to end this cost-cutting versus bringing value discussion from a creative aspect?
I think I like what you said about it's a two-way street. I think both sides to understand each other, right? And especially in some cases, I've noticed that procurement does have an understanding of the value more expensive creative can bring versus cheaper work can harm the brand itself. I've got a great story. It'll just take 2 minutes. I was once working on Adobe in California, and I was working with a very brilliant account manager, And we were presenting portfolios of 2 photographers to Adobe to shoot their campaign. One of them was a very famous photographer, so he was very, very expensive. The other was an average photographer who had met the cost in the brief. We deliberately took the more expensive photographer in because we said, look, this is Adobe, you need to elevate the brand. Procurement was there. They said, okay, no, we would like to go with the cheaper option. And then the account manager stepped in and said, let me give you 2 scenarios. Scenario A is, both of them are around the consumer looking at your work. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Consumer looks at Adobe's work and says, wow, Adobe shot with photographer XYZ. That is one cool product. Situation B is, Adobe shot with this photographer. It's all right work, but at least they saved some money. That'll never happen. And he made procurement understand that very, very vital thing right there in the room. And that's when they said, okay, we'll reconsider. And I think that little bridge of understanding what value that can bring, and I liked what you said as well, which is the CMO-CFO partnership is very key here. Of course, you don't want to go overboard from the agency side either. You do want to remain within some boundaries, but if you are being pushed to bring better work or elevate the product, there might be a cost to it. And I think that understanding hasn't gone all the way. So that's, again, one thing I'd love to see changed in the industry.
Wonderful. About things that we don't have much control over change is what was spoken multiple times earlier, and that's another couple of questions on AI and agentic AI that are coming up. Clearly not hype, so I'll go past the hype, but if I can ask each of you in terms of how you see it used. It's like, I think Neil put it nicely when he said, it's not a question of whether we're using AI right now, it's a question of why we're not using it on certain aspects. So what aspects of, either from a generative point of view, from generative AI, or from the LLM dashboards that you're getting insights from, or the agentic AI that is, co-piloting or working alongside you as employees, what parts of that have you seen improve your work or help you along the way? Remy, I will start with you.
I think everybody's mentioned it. It's an efficiency building, I think, tool. And it also helps you, it's a listening tool as well, if you use certain aspects of AI. And I think it's at scale, right? Anything that does it at scale gives you a lot of data. So I think that's where it's very, very helpful. Will it replace creatives or any of that? I honestly do not believe that. I think it's a partnership even in that, right? So I think it would be wrong to say that we should not be using it. Absolutely not. Everybody's using it. We all are. And we've all benefited from it. And I think the biggest benefit has been efficiency. And also it identifies, I think, areas where you can improve, which you may have taken longer to identify. So that's been a big learning for us. And we use it even within our product portfolio. So again, it gives us a little bit more leverage as a portal, for example, in terms of how we're listening to our audiences and then taking that feedback on and delivering the right message. So I think that's where AI has been very helpful.
Joe?
Yeah, I think using the word switch is big. I think we will use agentic AI and we're using it, and marketers will use it. But I think the only watch out is like, let's not be obsessed.
Right.
Because our main obsession should be really in that creative environment, creativity. And creativity with a human touch as well. Because if you really look back to Ali's example at the Apple Christmas ad, yes, they used it, but they used it in a human way, in a way that they showed you behind the scenes that there's a human touch across everything. So yes, agentic AI will help us, will really open confirm a lot of things, will open new perspective, but let's not be super obsessed while using it. That's what I need to say on that.
No, I think that's really well put. It's already being used across all streams at every stage of the process. You're using it to mine data and insights. You're using it to better presentations, you're using it to execute things, you're using it to scale and distribute things, reach out to, I mean, it is at every level, but I don't think you're ever going to let go of the human layer on top of it, which will be
fascinated you
needed.
the most, Ali? I mean, we've all dabbled with various forms of AI at this point, but from your viewpoint, what's fascinated you? What's that oh wow moment? Is it the amount of time that now is a lot lesser? Yeah. Is it speed to market, or is it insights about consumers that we didn't really know that we can then lean into? Or what's that wow moment you felt at some point using it?
I think it's around speed. Okay. It's speed of making. I think that's the most amazing thing about it. You still need to play with it a lot, but the speed with which it can get you to a final place is remarkable. Yes, there is help with mining stuff as well, but the execution part of it is absolutely stunning.
Alka?
I think for us, it's the consumer insights. It is knowing the audiences that we go after and building digital twins. So that's something we look at. We market in over 15 countries, and within that, we look at segments like couples and families. So we've started looking at if we can build a digital twin of an audience, say it's couples in the UK, and start asking you questions like how many times a year are you going to plan to go on holiday? What are your perceptions of the Middle East and the UAE? So it's really giving us a lot of information that helps inform our campaigns.
Okay. I'm going to do something for the final few in the room. Is there anyone who wants to actually take the mic and ask one final question? Oh, we've got... Come up. We'll take one final question. That time is up, but it was paused for like a quarter. Yeah. Yeah, it is fair time. Okay. One final question. Let's go.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Mohammed Suhaim. I work in consumer analytics and intelligence. So my question is for Alka in terms of tourism. Given the changing landscape of tourism in Ras Al Khaimah right now, and we see a lot of influx in outbound and inbound tourism, what would be the biggest challenge in coming quarters to actually position yourself into outdoor marketing in cross-border?
I think beyond outdoor marketing, for us, the pressing thing is our brand. When we developed our positioning as the nature emirate, you go into Ras Al Khaimah, you see this beautiful ecosystem of mountain, desert, sea. But as you see all this accelerated growth, the construction, you got wind, you've got all these great brands coming in, the destination is fundamentally changing. So for us, the challenge is how do we attract the visitor of today and how do we attract the visitor 5 years from now when the destination is going to fundamentally look different?
So it's a long-term planning you are focusing on.
It is.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Looks like that's time. Thank you, guys. Let's put our hands together for them one final time. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We have two quick, big prizes to give away. Let me start with our team. Do you guys have a winner? Does Animotion have a winner?
Yes.
Let me just check if the winner is in the room.
It's Yasmina here.
Yasmina, what's
from
up?
Info Media Group.
Yasmina from Info Media Group. Is she here? No. Do you have her email details?
Yeah,
then we can do that.
So we will contact her.
All right. And we have here Tony. Is Tony here? Who won the PS5? Or did he leave as well? Wow, he left without. No. We'll then. Yeah, he was just here, but then. Yeah, Tony is here. No, that's not Tony. Okay, that's about it. I think that wraps up. We'll just give the prizes to the people when we have the opportunity to. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Have a good evening. Thank you, sir.